United for Conservative Action. Now, about 2 years ago, I was given a call from the president of the organization because for over a decade, I've been working in many communities that a lot of times only politicians go to for campaign time. But it was really important for me that we stay active in all zip codes of Oklahoma. And so when Melinda, the president of LUCA, reached out to me, I couldn't tell her no. Although I'm not Latina, I am Persian, but this is a civic duty that a title can't keep away from. We're all human. This is something we should do for one another. So I took it, and I'm proud to say LUCA is active, and this is our first event for the state of Oklahoma. So for LUCA, can we give them a round of applause? I have my wonderful team that helped me put all this together because, guys, it was a lot of work, and I could not do it by myself. I have Jessica Perez here. Can you wave? Dr. Lisa Pleasant and Tyani Rumbert. So one of the key things LUCA really emphasizes is civic engagement. Now, this election is very important for the state of Oklahoma because, as we all know, we are at the bottom when it comes to education. And one thing we all can agree on is that we want a better future for our students. Whether it's public school, private school, home school, whatever it is, we want to make sure our kids have a bright future. So I said, what the heck, why not? This is the perfect time, since LUCA believes in civic engagement, that it's time to get our youth involved. Now, we say all the time Oklahoma is a low voter turnout, but how can we change that? We get our kiddos involved at an early age. They understand the importance of voting and who they're voting for. And sometimes it can be scary asking your leaders questions because you don't know what those boundaries are, what you can or cannot say. The goal of tonight is to tell our students, and guys, I hope you're listening, that one of these two gentlemen that are here tonight that will lead the public education for the state of Oklahoma, they're not unreachable. They want to hear from you guys, and you must talk to leadership because we cannot solve problems unless we hear from all of Oklahoma, and that includes you guys too. Now, just a couple rules for tonight. This is a student forum, and that's what we want to keep it at. So this section over here, you'll see all our students, and we have some student overflow in the front. Our forum will take place over here. It is our classroom. We wanted to make it fun and inviting for our students because if we messed it up the first time, we might not get it a second. So we want to make sure they're comfortable. And we want to make sure our candidates are comfortable with our students and they get to have dialogue without any outside distraction. So what that means, we will have Dr. Lisa Pleasant, who will moderate the evening, with Jessica Perez, and we will have our students 3 at a time come speak with our candidates. Now, hold your applause. We are not taking any applause for students because we don't want distraction or one think their question was different from the other. And we will not allow any comments from adults in the room. If you do one of the two, we will ask you to leave.
We'll put you in detention.
There you go. That's right. So thank you all for being here. I'm super excited. The kids, it's not going to be, so if you guys are wondering why they're having a little dialogue, we wanted to make it interesting. They're not going to ask a question, sit down, and we move on. They're going to ask a question. They have a dry erase board. They can write down notes. If they feel that their questions weren't answered, they get to have dialogue with these gentlemen. So I hope you guys enjoy. And kids, please, relax. Just relax. You've got a building full of people that are behind you all, and they all showed up because they also want to hear from you, not just the candidates. So, kids, we're going to be respectful, we're going to be kind, and we're going to be polite. And if you can't do those 3 things, you will be asked to not participate as well. Okay? We got it? Well, let's get started. Thank you all for coming. Sorry. I am delighted to introduce our moderator for the night. Now, before I go into her bio, I met her on my campaign trail, and we have clicked and become very good friends. And she is a wonderful woman, a human, and an educator for the state of Oklahoma. Dr. Elizabeth Pleasant is an educator, instructional leader, author, and education advocate dedicated to improving outcomes for students while empowering teachers and families. A United States Air Force veteran, her educational journey began in career tech as a licensed cosmetologist and ultimately led her to earning her doctorate of philosophy and psychology. With more than 2 decades of experience in education, she is passionate about literacy, leadership, student success, and building meaningful partnerships between schools and communities. Dr. Pleasant is honored to serve as our moderator tonight and looks forward to facilitating a thoughtful, respectful conversation about the future of education in Oklahoma. Let's give her a round of applause.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our classroom. As you can see, and Lisa said, we have set up a classroom. I'm actually an English 3 teacher. I teach in Lawton, Oklahoma. I am at MacArthur High, so you're going to see the teacher side of me here, okay? So you'll hear things that I'll speak to the students as I would speak in teacher language to the kiddos, right? And so if we get out of hand, I'll be eyes on me, and that'll be every eyeball should be on me for further instructions, right? Give me a thumbs up if you understand what I just said. Outstanding. Okay, so it is my total honor to introduce our 2 wonderful candidates. I do believe that one of these gentlemen is going to run the state of Oklahoma for public education. So please give us a warm welcome to Dr. Taylor and Dr. Franklin. They are from student death, so they're going to take their student death. And we're going to open up with an icebreaker. Before we have the candidates introduce themselves and talk to the students about who they are and what do they represent, what are their values, just talk to the kiddos, we're going to have a competition of rock, paper, scissors. Okay, and so you get 1 round, sirs, and whoever wins the round of rock, paper, scissors, you have the option of either going first or letting your opponent go first. Okay, and your marks? Yes, and your marks. Get set, go. Okay, so rock smashes scissors. So sir, you have an option to either stand if you want to stand and address the kiddos, or you can sit however's more comfortable.
Okay, tell me my timeline here.
You have 3 minutes, sir, and we have our timekeeper.
All right, very good. Green means go. Hey, young folks, here's the deal. My name is Dr. Robert Franklin. These back here call me Bobby. We've been doing school business for a really long time. Here's what I want to say to you before we get into much of what we're going to be talking about tonight. I would love for you to consider being a volunteer at a camping program called Make Promises Happen. You can Google it up. That's right. This is just a plug for a program that I helped co-found for individuals with disabilities. And I'm very, very proud of that. One of these young ladies back here has been there before. We would love for you to consider coming and serving. We'll do the training with you. You'll serve as a one-on-one volunteer. It's just right between Guthrie and Evan, right off of I-35. We have young people just like you all the time who come and serve as a one-on-one volunteer and watch you grow, and watch you learn, watch you make friends with other people. What might happen to you before it's all said and done, you might say, I'd like to be an occupational therapist. I might enjoy being a physical therapist or a special education teacher or maybe a physician. But one of the things that we've always taken pride in is that when you do this work and you serve other people, you're also serving the one who sent us here. And I couldn't be more proud of that work. So I want to tell you that. But let me also tell you this. I've been doing schoolwork for a really long time. I started out as a special education teacher. And then what I did after that was I became a junior high assistant principal. How many people are in junior high? A couple of you? Okay. So 7th, 8th grade, 6th grade, maybe? Okay. Middle school, yeah. Back in the day, we used to call it junior. Okay. That's why I've got the gray hair. I'm the old man. All right, here we go. We got this. All right, so here's the deal. We did that for a couple of years, and then what happened was we started working in an alternative school. And I worked with some really, really tough, hardcore kiddos who've broken the law, but we always did the school portion of things. Always did the school portion of things. So I know what it looks like when kiddos come from broken families, and broken networks, and broken hearts. And so trying to do that work, but doing the school portion of things to try and help them get to a better place. Then moved on as a high school principal. So I've been a high school principal. And did that for a couple of years and then served as an associate superintendent. They call the central office. It's kind of a boring place for a lot of people, but we worked on bond issues and on long-range plannings, your state testing. I'm sure you hated that. I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But did that kind of work. Also left from there and went to Tulsa Tech, which is one of the oldest and largest career tech centers in the state of Oklahoma. So lots of young people like junior and senior year said, I want to study cosmetology. Ah, look what could happen to you. All right, very good. Or who say, I want to study aviation maintenance, or I want to study electronics, or I want to study any number of things, welding, electricity, nursing. Those are the things that we did for well over 14 years. Very proud of that work. Left that work. And now I'm a professor, an associate professor, a lecturing professor at the University of Oklahoma at the Tulsa campus. Okay. And so what we do is work with people that are working on their degrees, and I'm very proud of that work. So I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad I'm here. I've been tired of talking to people that are really, really old who think that they know what schools are like. So it's good to talk to people who really do know what school looks like. Okay? We're glad you're here.
Thank you, sir.
It is an honor for me to be here, and I love kids. I was a youth pastor for several years, started in 1977. You guys weren't even a blink in your daddy's eyes at that time. But I love working with kids. I'm here to tell you that I want to fix our schools. Our schools have a lot of problems, and we need to start first by making sure that our teachers are well equipped and prepared so that they know what's going on. There's a lot of things that teachers are given that they don't have all the information. Our universities do a good job in preparing them for their subject matter, but they don't do that great of a job in teaching them how to teach. And so one of the things that we want to do is make sure that teachers are going to be able to teach and work with you guys. I know that you guys, my kids, I teach high school. I teach mostly sophomores, and they are always asking me, especially this last year, Dr. Taylor, when you become superintendent, what are you going to do about the phones? And I said, absolutely nothing, because that's the legislature. All I got to do is just enforce it. And then I asked my kids, I said, listen, you're not going to get in trouble. I just want to know, how many of you still use your phone? Well, I'm not asking you, but go ahead.
I thought that was the question.
Yeah. But the reality is 100% of my students still use their phones. And so much for the law, right? Yeah. But anyway, the reality is you guys have a bright future ahead of you. Oklahoma is a place where I want to make sure that you guys are proud to be there, that you're proud to be at the school that you're at, where your parents are excited that you're at your school, where your teachers are excited that you're in the class, where the administrators look forward to you being in the class. So this is what I want to do, is to make Oklahoma great again. That's what the plan is, and we're going to try to do that the best that we can. And the only way we can do that is your help. See, you guys come into class, and you guys bring into class what you want. So if you go into your classroom and you think, oh, this is not going to be any fun, you've already set the stage for how you're going to look at that class. Now, if you got a good teacher, they can change your attitude, okay? And they can change the way you think, because I believe a very important principle. If you change perception, you can change performance. If you change the way you look at things, you can change how you act when you're dealing with stuff. And so this is one of the things that I'm going to be trying to do, is make sure that all the kids have the opportunity to be successful. Make sure that we have the monies that are so designed to go into the classroom actually make it to the classroom. I'm going to ask the question when I'm in the office, and asking this simple question about the programs. Does this program help our students to learn to read, write, and do math? And if it doesn't, we're not going to have it in there because there's no need to have it in the program. And now we can take that money and redirect it to those classrooms where it belongs. This is very, very important. I also want to push for having your parents to be more involved in with you guys as well, because no parent should feel like they're an outsider. No parent should feel like they're a special interest group because they ask one question. And the question is this: what are you teaching my child? Parents have a right to know, they have a right to be heard, and they have a right to choose. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna start it off by, we're gonna have a raffle. Miss Tiani, can I have we're doing the raffle so I can have the bucket. While she's getting our raffle bucket, we can start off with some fun games for y'all. I do wanna remind you, do y'all see the QR code? The kiddos, do you see the QR code that's at the bottom of the screen? Okay, so we are gonna have an exit ticket. How many of you know what an exit ticket is? Yeah, you've had exit tickets before in school? Okay, so your exit ticket, you are going to pay very close attention to everything our candidates are going to say to you, okay? Because at the end of this forum, you're actually gonna vote. You're gonna vote for whomever captured your attention and your heart. And if you were of voting age, you would vote for them. So you're actually going to vote at the end of this forum. We're having a mock election. And here's the thing. Everybody has your card, right? On the back of one of your cards, you are going to tell the candidates why you voted for them. Okay? So if you vote for, let's say you vote for Dr. Franklin, you vote for Dr. Taylor. You're going to tell them why you voted for them. But you're also going to tell them, to the other candidate, why you didn't vote for them. Okay? Because I believe the candidates need this feedback from the population that they're going to serve, right? So we're going to have this. So you have to pay very close attention. Lisa touched upon this at the beginning. We want to make sure we hear your voices. We understand that at home there are conversations and that your understanding of politics, your understanding of the world, the first filter is your parents. Okay, we understand that 100%. But we also understand that you have a mind of your own, which we are crafting in the classroom. We want to make sure that you use your mind, your words, okay, the spirit of your question for the candidates. That's why that's why we separated you, and we want to make sure that when you speak to them, okay, it's okay if it's in kid language. It's okay. Okay, and if you need assistance getting your words out, we'll help you. They'll help you. But we want it to be you, okay? So we're gonna go with and then we're gonna ask the candidates if you can come over to the gift table. You will be selecting the gifts that the winners will have the first round.
Let's make a deal.
Yeah. Okay, bucket me, please. Yeah. Da-da-da-da. It's only a little bit hot in here. Think cool thoughts. Red. Like a fan, like a fan, like a fan. Wish I got it? Set them up. First winner is number 56. Who is number 56? Ah, come on down. Let's give her a round of applause. No way. Round of applause. The next number is 76. 76, come on down. Who's number 76? Look at your raffle ticket. There we go. Round of applause, please. It's not just a backpack. It has things in it. It has goodies. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so now we have quite a few kids, which is a great problem to have. So I'm going to call 3 kids at a time. You're going to come and sit in one of the student desks. Okay, I know some of you have several questions to ask. You get 1 question per round. And then when we go through the list, if we still have time, we're going to go and do this next question. So pick your most pressing question. The question you absolutely want answered, okay? That's the one that you're going to have an opportunity. I'm going to hand you a mic, and you're going to pass down the mic to each other. Okay, so may I please have, and I'm sorry if I don't say your name correctly, but see, Maya, Natalie, and Nyla. Come on down, please. I'm sorry? Nailah. Mansfield. Okay, so Acevedo and Perez. And we will start with Ms. Perez. Where's Ms. Perez? And then we will go to Ms. Acevedo, and then we'll go to
This question is for Dr. Taylor. You said you want the Bible taught in classrooms. Christians don't all interpret the Bible the same way. And our schools also include students and teachers who are Jewish, Muslim, Hindu, Catholic, or have no religious beliefs. How would you decide which Bible or translation is taught and whose interpretation is used? If a teacher doesn't share those beliefs, should they still be required to teach it? And how do you make sure students and teachers of every faith or no faith feel equally respected?
Excellent question. What the issue is, the legislatures have said that the Bible can be in our schools. That's not even an issue. And actually, what I say is you don't have to have the Bible in the school in order to teach, because I teach history. So what I recommend is using original documents from our foundation of our nation. And so, and because this is American history, I'm teaching American history. I'm not teaching Hindu history. I'm not teaching Islamic history. I'm teaching American history. And American history has a Judeo-Christian foundation throughout the entire time that our country was founded. That's what I will do. And because a person is a Hindu or Muslim or whatever is not relevant to a U.S. history class, what you're teaching in American history.
Ms. Byan, those are concerned. Will you please repeat the question, but make sure that you speak loudly into the mic. Put the mic closer to your mouth because there were some audience members who couldn't hear the question.
You said you want the Bible taught in Oklahoma classrooms. Christians don't all interpret the Bible the same way, and our schools also include students and teachers who are Jewish, Muslim, Hindu, Catholic, or have no religious beliefs. How would you decide which Bible or translation is taught and whose interpretation is used? If a teacher doesn't share those beliefs, should they still be required to teach it? And how would you make sure students and teachers of every faith or no faith feel equally respected and included? Thank you.
Dr. Franklin, you get equal amount of time.
Okay. I've not advocated for the Bible to be taught in our classrooms. I think it's a really place for your family and for your faith leaders to lead that work. And so I just don't think that that's a healthy place for us to do from a place of school. I don't think our Constitution puts us in that position. I think it reminds us that says that there are different faiths. I think we need to honor and respect that because I think it's too heavy of a burden for a teacher to have to carry that load as well. So again, I would just yield that to your family and to your faith leaders and to your community leaders that you feel comfortable about how you want to express your faith, which makes America the kind of the place that it was, that we actually moved away from one religious oversight and we allowed ourselves to have that freedom of religion, which is pretty sacrosanct. So I appreciate the question.
Thank you. Okay, Natalie? And make sure you speak up into the mic.
So my name is Natalie and I'm 11. I know that a lot of people like me. They like a lot of different things, and like what would you say to like different interests that like not everyone understands?
Can I answer that one first?
Yeah.
Okay, Natalie. Here's what I think. Everybody is a very, very unique human being. I wish that we could appreciate that a little more. When I talk to people that are much older than you in political contexts like this, sometimes they're not very accepting of people who see the world differently than them. And that makes me sad because at the end of the day, you have your own interest and you have your own expectations and your family kind of pour that into you. The way I would like to see us is this, is that we meet you where you are. And we focus really and truly on how well you do algebra and how well you write and how well you calculate. And if you're an artist, how well you want to chase that particular dream. And if you're a singer, I want you to chase that particular dream. And if indeed you don't know what that dream is, I'd love for you to have the kind of electives in middle school that can give you exposure to all different kinds of career pathways that you go, this is kind of unique about how I see the world. And here looks like a career pathway that I might be able to do something like that when I'm an adult. And that is where the magic happens. So anyway, that's how I feel about it.
That is an excellent question. I live it every day. I have a 7-year-old child who he is level 3 autistic. And so he is very different. And that's the reason my wife is not here, because his place would be looking at him because he can't handle this too much. And so we deal with that every day. We live it every day. I work with students who are different than one another, and so I will continue to encourage them, point them in directions that will be in their best interest. I always have my students' best interest in mind, and try to find out. My students will tell you that I try to find out what is important to them, and try to find out how I can help them to be the best person they possibly can be by just asking them what's going on in their life.
And now Nyla.
Okay, my question's for you, Dr. Taylor. When I was at the forum with you and you said that you were a white Christian nationalist, why did you think that was appropriate to make a joke?
I didn't. Oh, the question is, why did I say I was a white Christian nationalist? I said that because that's what other people are calling me. They're saying that I'm a white Christian nationalist. My response is, have you seen my picture? Because that's one of the ways I've been called since this election. I have been called more names than you can shake a stick at. I've been told I'm all this, all that, whatnot. But I just want to let you know that stuff doesn't really bother me so much. But here's why. I learned a long time ago, and it didn't happen overnight. It took me a while to learn this. I learned a long time ago that I've been called the worst by God, sinner, and I've been called the best by God, my child. So anything someone says falls somewhere in between. So you really can't hurt me by calling me names. So to me, I found that to be humorous that obviously they didn't see my picture and obviously they don't know who I am because all the different names that I've been called a hater. I've been called a cult leader, all types of things. None of those things are accurate or true, but they all fall in that same little category that it doesn't bother.
I don't think I've ever made a joke about that. But I will say this. Here's what I think is fascinating to me. We passed a law because we felt like that young people just like yourselves were being bullied and being prompted with anxiety because there was so much rhetoric that was out there in social media and so much in the technology and on your phones. But yet I think adults have set a really, really bad example for our young people because there are some adults who say some really mean and ugly things about people that they should never be saying because they don't know who we are. They don't know what our heart and our intentions are. And that makes me sad for adults that we will set rules and regulations. And yet many of us as adults don't follow and set good examples for young people. So I think people are watching us as adults. I think they watch what we do. And I think that's important for us to remind ourselves that young people are watching us. And if we can set a better example in regard to kindness, respect, of how we treat people, then I think the world's a little bit better. And we're all a little broken in some kind of way. Some people are stronger, some people are weaker, some people read better, some people are faster. Some people are broken spiritually, some people are broken emotionally. But I think the way I see it is, much like I would hope that you would see it, and I think a lot of young people see this, I wish the adults could do this better. That if each one of us is a little more broken, can be helped by someone who's a little less broken, then maybe the world gets to be a little bit better place to hang out in. So, thank you for the question.
Good job, ladies. Okay, so Nyla, if you will hand the mic over to Nyla Sykes, and then can I have Soraya and can I have Vivi come up, please? Thank you so much. Okay, and so Nyla, you'll begin you have one question. Soraya, you'll be next, and then Vivi, you'll.
Question for Taylor. What are you going to do to present? What are you going to prevent the students from smoking, vapes, weed, and etc. at school and more?
That's going to be something that your school does, not the superintendent. However, our school has cameras in the hallways, in front of the bathroom, not in the bathroom, and so whenever the alarms go off, we know who is in there as they start coming out, and so hopefully the administration will be able to deal with that because those things are kids do that all the time. I don't, to me, I look at it like this. When you graduate and you're going out on your own and you're saying you're famous, ooh, I was smoking in the bathroom. That's not much of a claim to fame to me. But the thing that we'll need to be doing is just follow the guidelines of the school. The school has every school has their own guidelines, and so that's what we would have to enforce. Make sure those things get done.
So let me give it a crack, okay? It goes like this. No pun intended on this crack, okay? Here we go. Here's what I say is this. All my life, in the work that I've done with working with young people like you, I've advocated to do leadership workshops. What I have found as a junior high assistant principal and as a high school principal, when young people feel empowered, that they lead the school just like I lead the school. They lead the school just like I lead the school. If they want to save school just like I want to save school, you help make it that way. And you have a voice and you have the empowerment to be able to step forward and say, what you're doing is wrong. Let's move on. And that, to me, is when each one of us teach one of us and feel empowered to lead that work. So, again, I think it's how we set examples of how we also empower the young people that we're working with. And I think there are workshops that we have done. And I would just encourage schools to do that. So I think there are probably good examples of that throughout. Oftentimes cameras, metal detectors, and those types of things feel very heavy and very onerous sometimes. I get why we have to do it because schools sometimes are not as safe as they once were. So I understand why we have to have those things. But I think the most important people that make the school safe are the young people who walk the hallways.
Okay. My question is for Dr. Frank.
Okay, Dr. Franklin.
Yeah. Do you think schools sometimes focus on more getting through a unit in a subject rather than making sure everybody actually understands and
Yes.
moves at the same pace?
Yes, I do. I'm a perfect example of that. I was the youngest kiddo in my class at Ching's Public Schools. I was the youngest kid to graduate, so I was the last guy to be able to drive in high school, which was a real bummer. But when you're a little and younger than everybody else, you sometimes don't progress at the same pace, particularly when it comes to reading. And so I always struggled to try and catch up with reading. I always struggled. So it caught me all the way up to junior high and Stillwater Junior High. And so I went to a remedial class. And so the teacher was very kind and very supportive of me. And so it was my effort to try and catch up because everybody else was moving on. And so, again, that program was really helpful. And what was cool about it was the teacher said, hey, Robert, you know what? Maybe you should come back next year and maybe you could be one of my peer tutors because I like the way that you interact with your classmates. And she said, we could use that in here. So from that standpoint, maybe, a junior high teacher said, I like the way that you're working with your peers. But like I said, some of us have to work a little harder and have to catch up a little bit. So I think schools have to really be targeted and supportive of kiddos who sometimes don't get it on the first iteration or the first, I guess what I would say, the lesson that comes out. Some of my buddies are really, really smart. And those are the ones that go, oh, they're in the Bluebird class. Okay, I get it. They're in the Bluebird section. And I'm over here in the Yellowbird section. And we all knew who the Yellowbird section was. We were slower. Okay. But all that to say is Yellowbirds count too, right? Okay, thank you for the question.
Yes, there are people that do fall behind. One of the things that I try to do in my classroom is we do a little bit of the lesson initially, and then I give them a little game, sometimes quizzes or quiz one of these things that they can play, and they get all the stuff that we're going to cover, and then we get it and see where they're at, and they usually are not very well. They don't know it because we haven't covered it, and so then we cover the information. Then I give them the same thing all over again. They see the same test, and then I see what they make, and then I can see real quick. I can actually do remedial teaching right there in that same class period for the students that did not get it, because I will know immediately. So that's what I do. So when they do fall behind, I can see that very day within the classroom, and so to make sure that they are up with the rest of the class. I think it's a real simple thing to do. And it just takes a little bit of upfront time, but once you get that done, it makes it easier for the kids to stay. So I know what their grade is, I know what they started, and I know what they had by the end of that class.
Hello, my name is Vivi, and I have been a peer tutor for a few years for the special education kids at my public school, and have been a student council member for the past, this will be my second year. And I have seen firsthand how much the words of fellow students can make a positive or negative impact on kids. And I believe that grade school leaders understand the impact of kindness in our schools. According to Oklahoma's Youth Risk Behavior Survey, Among students who have experienced online bullying, almost 44% reported seriously considering suicide. These are lives lost, and it is an issue that is very important to students like me. So here's my question for you guys. As social media allows bullying to follow students home and affect them around the clock, what specific steps would you take as state superintendent to protect students from bullying, both at school and online, and ensure they ensure they have access to mental health support when they need it?
Yeah, that is a great question. One of the things that we have to make sure of is that there is parental involvement in your life. And if there's not a parent there, then there needs to be some mentors or surrogate parents that can monitor what's going on with your social media. Because outside of the school, the social media, well, in school, they still do social media, but outside in your home, there's limited access that the administration or teachers have. So your parents have a play in that what's going on, and parents need to monitor. Also, one of the things that I'm going to try to emphasize is less unnecessary screen time. We have a lot of screen time in our schools, and now the research is showing us that too much screen time is not a healthy thing. And so, to eliminate the unnecessary screen time, if you're using these things, I like the idea of Go Guardian. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but Go Guardian controls in your classroom where the kids can go in your class with social media or with the internet, and so that limits that, or at least for that class period, so they can't do it. Now, a lot of schools don't do it because it costs money, but that Go Guardian or something similar is worth putting in. And then also the schools need to make sure that they follow their policies about bullying. Sometimes when bullying occurs, sometimes the folks don't necessarily think that that's actually bullying, but you can see what's going on, and when there's bullying taking place, it needs to be dealt with. It needs to be dealt with from the administration, from the teachers, and from the parents' perspective.
Maybe that's a powerful question. It's very tender for me as well, because last night we were driving home from an event from my wife's on the phone with my daughter, who's a counselor in elementary school, and she shared the little boy down the street. This is real. It's a very, very tender subject, very tender moment. Had he been in school, my daughter thinks maybe that the counseling resources could have been a resource help, but because he was on support, didn't. And that little guy just changed the dynamics of his whole family for generations to come. And so young people do struggle. Adults struggle with our emotions. This is not an exact science, but I can tell you this. As a state superintendent, I'll do everything I possibly can to put as many resources as we possibly can. Counseling and mental health supports, and if we have to write federal grants, let's get after it. Let's do the work. Let's put the resources there, because it's absolutely an epic moment to say, let's salvage young people and give them the support that they need. Sometimes it's not just in a kind message, it's in a coaching message. Sometimes it is in a rescue message, and sometimes it's in a protective message. And each one of us are broken in some kind of way. But when someone cries out and needs the help, let's get there, and let's make sure that we have the resources to help them. So it's a really tender moment for the Franklin family and for the Rogers family, because we just had an emotional moment last night. Change the trajectory of this family. Thank you for that powerful question.
Thank you both. Am I permitted to ask my follow-up question, or do I wait?
You'll have to wait because we have a lot of other students, but thank you so much. So we're going to, if you'll just leave the microphone on the desk. Perfect. Thank you. So we are going to, it kind of feels, oh, that's okay. Just maybe on the chair, yeah. Perfect. It kind of feels, I feel a certain way because we have it scheduled to do another raffle right now, but it really touched my heart, with the situation that they encountered yesterday. And so,
is a talented lady.
Ree?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it just, when you think